Hey everyone, Rachel Leah Gerson, Doorway to Self here, and I wanted to share a recent experience of mine with you that I'm actually still very much in the throes of. But when you're in the throes of shadow work, it's the best time to talk about it because it's fresh and you're in it and it's there. Um, you know, as somebody who is a leader in the psychic community, as somebody who is considered to be an expert, a lot of the time people don't think that we experts have anything wrong with us, right? I shouldn't say wrong, right? Like any difficulty in daily life, right? Like people see me or other practitioners at the Wellness Collective or other practitioners who are famous on YouTube or have written books, et cetera, and they think, oh, you've already gone through all the hard stuff. You've already gotten through it. You've already done all of the shadow work that you need to do. And now you're on this brilliant, beautiful other side, and I can't wait to be there, and, et cetera, et cetera. But I have to break that vision for you, break that beautiful vision of that green grass on the other side because um, yes, we're experts. Yes, we sit in the practitioner chair. Yes, we've gone through the hard stuff to get us here, but that doesn't mean that the hard stuff doesn't stop. That doesn't mean that there aren't still challenges, there aren't still things, still curveballs thrown our way. Um, and the difference is with this grass on the other side, it is greener, right? It is greener. The reason it's greener is because we now have the tools to be able to divert our mindset and to change our mindset so that that challenge becomes a gift, so that that challenge is seen as a learning experience, as a growth experience, a growth opportunity. So I just wanted to share with you my recent experience. As many of you know, I'm also in grad school studying clinical mental health counseling just to become more of an expert, right? Because even if somebody is an expert or a practitioner or whatever, there's always more learning to do. There's always a way to become more expert in something. The research, the learning, the wisdom, it never stops coming. So, anyways, I'm in this grad school program at Western Michigan, and it's a great program. I'm really loving it so far. And up until this point, my professors have been, well, actually, even this point, because it's just a different way, my professors have been really supportive of me and even of what I do, right? Like, that's amazing that an accredited secular university grad program in mental health would be accepting of metaphysics and of this metaphysical field, and of my viewpoints. So that's pretty miraculous. Thank you, 2017. Anyways, so what's happened in this last week is for one of my classes, we're in finals right now, which is why you have not heard much from me blog post wise or social media wise at all, because I have a lot on my plate right now, and so I've been needing to focus on that. But what I did want to share with you is that I'm in the midst of finals, and one of my finals is a 20 to 40 page paper that it doesn't matter what it's about, but the point is that it's very detail oriented, it's research based, it is very challenging for me, or it has been. And we have been asked to submit little portions of our papers throughout the semester just so that we can see if we're on track or not, and the professor can give us comments. And I have not been on track. This is a different element for me. I'm not used to proposing mental health programs at places. This is a whole other level of bureaucracy and needing to be really rigid and comply with set rules and regulations and look into all these things that I am not used to doing, right? Because I'm used to researching metaphysics. I'm not used to researching, oh, this is what this counseling center does, and this is what they're in need of, and, et cetera, so on and so forth. So I have not been doing well on my check-ins. And I've been trying so hard. And every time I think, oh, I've got it, it comes back with another, yeah, you're not on track. And another less than desired grade. So it's been really frustrating, and every time I get worked up and think, oh yeah, I've done it, and then I'm told that I failed at the prospect, I have started to get more and more discouraged, more and more down on myself, and all of this has been a very slow and steady downhill slope for the last few months. And I haven't even been aware of it, which is very unusual for me because normally, I'm somebody who I know to be mindful of where my mind is, right? Where my thought patterns lay, where I'm thinking and how I'm thinking and how that's affecting me, right? I'm that person who normally I would have recognized, like, okay, I feel really incompetent right now. Why is that? How can I delve into that? Where does that come from? Et cetera, so on and so forth, and then do the shadow work around that process to be able to come out on the other side and say, I may have felt incompetent in the past due to these patterns in my childhood, or due to how I was raised, or due to my schooling process, or due to my math teacher in fourth grade, or whatever it is. I would have recognized it. I would have gone in. I would have done that work and come back out on the other side and said, I may have felt that way because of those things before, but I am a new person at a different stage in my life, and it's not time for that stuff to get to me anymore. And in fact, I did that last year. I took a research methods class, which I was really afraid to take. I'm not a math person. I failed stats in undergrad. I was terrified to take this class. And I got into the class, and I recognized my fear, and the professor was wonderful, Dr. Snyder, who's no longer at Western, unfortunately, but he's amazing. And I got into class, and he said, okay, a lot of you are really scared to take this class. You didn't do well in stats in undergrad. I know that. You'll be okay. And when he said that, you'll be okay, I was like, why am I freaking out? I haven't even taken this class yet. I don't even know what's in it. This is completely different from my undergrad class, and I'm a completely different person than I was those years ago that I took that class. So I completely flipped my mindset. I ended up where I failed the class in undergrad with literally a 39%. I got an A in this class. And it's all to do with the mindset. I wasn't fear-based. I wasn't coming from this place of thinking I was going to fail, or thinking I couldn't do it, or thinking I wasn't worthy, or any of that stuff. And that was a brilliant experience for me to come out on the other side and say, wow, this mindset stuff really works. And for whatever reason, I was busy. I had a lot of other things going on, this, that, whatever. And I did not check in with myself in October when all of this started happening, right? I didn't check in with myself when I got that first off track grade. I didn't check in with myself to say, okay, you're feeling like you can't do this. How can we turn that around? And so it brought me to this point where I'm at, or where I was at yesterday morning, I should say, or a couple days ago. And I got my very last feedback. And hi Nancy, hi Linda, thank you for joining. I got my very last feedback, and the professor had literally written in, your answers thus far have been less than competent, and I am legitimately concerned about how you are going to do on this paper. And I cried hard, because I just, it hit me. It triggered me. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy enough. I was dumb. I was stupid. I wasn't going to get this, right? And so I emailed the professor, and I said, I'm really concerned too. There are a lot of things that I'm not understanding. And I said something along the lines of, blaming the project, saying something like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not understanding this because of the way that the project has been developed, or the way that it's worded, or something or other. And this professor emailed me back, and she said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you. She said, you are stuck in a poor me, shame-based mindset, and I don't know how you're going to be able to pass this paper or this class with a mindset like that. And I read that, and I just lost it. I burst into tears, and I lost it because I knew she was right. And that was really hard for me on several levels. A, on the level that she could see that. B, on the level that I was acting that way. And C, on the level that I've done so much work around that over years, that how could I let myself slip? And so it was really this beautiful wake-up call, right? We as practitioners need wake-up calls too sometimes, and that's okay, because it's not like we're God or anything. I mean, all of us are God on some level, but it's not like we are on the throne above anybody else. We are in this human experience as well, and we're learning right alongside you. And hi Heidi, thank you for joining. And so that, that's what's really important to know, is that we mess up too. We forget sometimes to get out of our heads, to get out of our own way. And she wrote that in the email too. I can't help you get out of your own way. And it's so true, right? No one can help you get out of your own way except for yourself. No one can help me get out of my own way except for myself, right? So at that point in time, I was like, okay, let's see where this is at. And I found that I was very triggered on the class that I had failed in college. I found that I was triggered on other classes that I had taken as an elementary school student when they told me that I wasn't good at math, or that I wasn't going to be good at math. Even though there's really no math involved, right? It's just that it's this rigid mindset, and people have always told me, like, oh, you're a creative person, So I had all of these triggers, and I kept following them back and back and back and back and back, saying, what is the root of all of this, right? Where does this all stem from? Where does this all come from? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this all coming up? And I started freaking out again. I was like, how am I going to write this paper? I allowed myself to slip into this mindset. How am I going to write this paper? And I had carved out all of yesterday, aside from one client, to be able to write this paper. And I said, you know what? Here's how I'm going to write this paper. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it today. Not until this is turned around. And so I took the morning after that. I meditated. I did some binaural beats. I calmed the mind. I quieted the mind. Then I started doing some chakra clearing. And when I started doing that, I realized I normally do this once a week. You know, in this very in-depth method. I do it multiple times a day, but I do a very in-depth, very, what's the word? It's a very focused cleansing, at least once a week, that takes about an hour. And I realized I hadn't done that in weeks. And I realized that I had stopped doing it when I got that first grade back. And I all of a sudden had this huge wake-up moment where I was like, oh my gosh, you are not in control of your life right now. You are letting this class control you. And that was huge, right? I mean, how many times have you allowed something or somebody else, a situation, a person, to control your life for you, right? And you use the excuse of like, oh, well, I have to. This person is making me. This situation is making me. Et cetera, et cetera. Like, for instance, like, I can't go to, I can't think of examples right now. Still brain dead from my paper a little bit. I can't go to the park and play today because my partner won't let me. Well, what does your partner have to do with it, right? What matters if you go to the park and play today? But we use other people in other situations. This seminar is so hard, I don't have any control over it, right? That's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing with this class. This class is so difficult, I don't have any control over it. This paper is so daunting, I don't have any control over it. And that's not true. The point is we choose what we have control over and what we don't. And that always ends with us, begins and ends with us. You only have control over you. And when you have control over you, you have control over how the situations and people around you behave and pan out, right? It starts from inside. So what I started doing is, first I changed my mindset, right? I am competent. I am competent. I did some tapping. I am competent. I did the chakra clearing. I let everything go of me not being competent, of me being unworthy, of me being stupid, of me, stupid for this class. So I let all of that go. And then I started turning it around, right? This class is going to help me. This class is going to help me. I am learning from this class. I am going to take so much away from this class that I can use later on in life. And I don't know exactly what that looks like at this point. I don't know exactly how that's showing up, but I can use it and I can do that. And this research is going to be fun, and this writing is going to be enlightening. And as soon as I started doing that, I started feeling like I'm actually passionate about this paper. This drab, dry, exhausting thing that had me anxious, on needles for weeks had turned into something that is fueling me. I'm going to completely love and appreciate this paper, and it's going to fly out of me, and it's going to impassion me, and so within a few hours of changing that mindset, like I said, I took the morning and the afternoon for myself. Then I had my client, and after I saw my client, I came back home and I said, okay, it's time to write. And I sat down, and a whole page flew out of me. It's when we choose to be passionate, when we choose to be grateful for experiences. I'm grateful for this learning experience. I'm grateful that my professor emailed me and said, I don't know if you can do this. I'm grateful for all of this because it was a huge wake-up call of, hey, you're creating your reality. You're in charge of your reality. What are you doing with that? So I'm asking you that same question. What are you doing with that? How are you creating your own reality? How are you choosing to live your daily life? What mindset are you choosing to be in when you live your daily life? So, am I still stressed out? Yeah. Am I still anxious about, how my professor is going to grade this paper? Yeah. But I know that even if she doesn't grade it in the way that I would like to, I am still enjoying and learning from this experience. And that is what matters to me. So, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope that you enjoyed some semblance of me being raw and human, because I am, just like you. And I want to urge you today at lunch to, I was already planning on recording this video, but what really threw me over the edge, I watched Bridget Nielsen's newest video on YouTube. The title was long, I can't completely recall it, but it was something about change. I think she released it on November 8th or 9th or something like that. So definitely go to YouTube, check out Bridget Nielsen, and check out that video. It's only like 15 minutes. And it's really wonderful about staying in the present, staying mindful, not controlling the future, not trying to control the future, and how your present mindset does control the future. So then I started thinking that if I would have stayed in my mindset that I was in yesterday and all those weeks before about this paper, I probably would be failing this class. But now with my changed mindset, I'm hopefully changing the energy that is meeting it from the future. And fingers crossed that I pass this paper, right? So, anyways, or I should be more forceful with that. I'm going to pass this paper and I'm going to pass this class. And I feel good about that. It's about the emotion that's connected to it, right? I feel passionate about that. I feel good about that. I feel grateful for that. I feel grateful I passed this paper. So, if any of you have any questions about this, feel free to drop them in the comment box, and I will, when I'm not writing like a rabid dog or something, I will do my best to get back to them. Thank you so much for joining me and for watching. I will, as I stated the other day, be uploading my Facebook Live videos onto YouTube from now on, just to make it a little easier to find them by title and such. So hopefully that's a little easier and more appealing to you. And once I get 100 subscribers on YouTube, I'll be able to name my channel. So so that you can find it even easier, and your friends and family can find it even easier. I would really, really appreciate it if you would check it out and subscribe, and I will drop the link to this video at the bottom in the comments. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much. Blessings to you.